Hey everyone, it's Phil. We're just getting ready to get started. Hey Rose. Hey Stan. Hey Rochelle. Hey Lily. Hey Diane. How are you? Anna, good to see you. Is everyone able to hear me okay? How's the audio? Good, awesome. That's great. Okay, awesome. Hey Jeremy, how you doing? Good seeing you last week. All right, we'll give it another 30 seconds or so before we get started. We're going to be talking about killing it at an open house, right? Hey, Fiedler, how are you? Thank you for being here. Good to see you. All right, hey, Carla, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Awesome. All right, let's get going. Flip the slide. All right, so let's talk a little bit about a little background on kind of open houses and why they're such a great idea. I can only tell you personally, I did very, very well meeting buyers there. Many of the folks, not everybody, but many are Dalton Wade agents on the call tonight. You all know Claren, right? Claren, I actually met at an open house just about 4 years ago, and we ended up selling her a house, and then she joined as an agent. And so good things happen at open houses. You meet good people. They're fun, right? Okay, so open house leads, they're free, right? They're free. I mean, you're not paying Zillow or Realtor.com or, a referral fee to OpCity. No, those leads are free, right? So again, I often talk about, listings because listings generate open houses. I know Rose has got a listing coming on. Hopefully she's got that open house ready to go for this Sunday, and hopefully she meets a buyer or two and she's able to leverage that and, get more business. So listings, multiple transactions. When you work with a buyer, typically all you get is the buyer, but when you work, on the listing side, you can, get multiple transactions, right? So, all right, the next bullet, open house leads convert at a higher percent than internet leads, right? So the buyers coming to open houses are actually better. They're more ready to go. Why is that? So a lot of people, when they fill something out on Zillow or they fill something out on Realtor.com, maybe they're confused or maybe their timing still isn't for, kind of way out in the future. But folks so the process of how buyers typically buy something, especially first-time home buyers, they start online, right? And then the next thing they do is they usually go to an open house. They start going to open houses. They have no access to the properties, right? So they don't have an agent yet, but they're starting their process. They've moved from online to offline, right? So that's why you get a higher percent conversion. Personally, it's I think the best way to get in front of what I call now buyers, folks that are ready to buy soon, within the next 60 days. Just one note here, if anybody has any questions while we're going through this, just type them in. Happy to answer them. Here's a statistic that I often quote. 75% of first-time home buyers work with the first agent they like. What does that mean? Well, what it means is they don't go interviewing agents. Like, that's not how our service gets purchased. They don't go and interview 3 buyer's agents and then find out who's the most technically savvy, who's done the most transactions, no, it's not at all how it goes. They find somebody that they like, somebody that helped them, somebody that followed up with them. And that's what you can do in an open house, right? So 75% of first-time home buyers work with the first agent they like. Crazy, right? But true. So that's, again, important. The other 25% are probably referred to somebody. So there's a huge pool of that first-time home buyers that, they're kind of up for grabs. And whoever does that, great job of, meeting them, getting to know them, helping them, following up with them, asking them if they want to go out and look at some properties, right? That's important. Ask for the order, right? Ask them. I always asked, hey, would you like to go out and look at some properties with me? I may do it at the open house if I'm really, feeling kind of the connection, or I may do it in a follow-up email later. But again, open house leads, just like all leads, they need to be worked, right? I mean, you have to put some effort into them. You have to be focused on, okay, I'm trying, why am I at that open house? What am I doing there? Well, you're there ultimately to hopefully sell the home, right? I mean, that is kind of the first goal. But here are the national averages. Only 10% of folks that go to an open house, let me rephrase that. Only 10% of homes are sold by someone going to an open house. So it doesn't happen all that often, right? But why do you do it? Well, you do it for the other reason, which is to meet people. So you've got to have, you're keyed in, right? You're focused on, hey, I'm going to try to, sell the house, but I know that's probably not going to happen, but I'm there to meet people, right? I'm there to have them like me. I call it bonding. I'm there to bond with people, right? But you still got to work that lead, just like, every other lead we have in our database. All right, let's talk about some advanced preparation so that you drive traffic, to your open house. Okay, so here's the thing. The number one way to get traffic is through the MLS. When you set up that open house icon, right, and hopefully everybody knows how to do that. It's very easy. You're in your listing. You're on the screen where, you can change it from active to pending to sold. And then you set up the open house and you can put in the time, you make it public, right? But you want to do that early. You want to do that at the beginning of the week. Like if you're having an open house this weekend, that already needs to be done, right? You needed to do that on Monday for Sunday of the, upcoming week. Why? Well, think about it. How do buyers search, right? They're searching at all different times. Now, if you have an open house coming up on Sunday, but you haven't posted the open house yet, and somebody is searching on your listing, they don't see the open house. They don't know there's an open house. They might have come, but they can't come because they don't know. So you want that posted as soon as you can, right? I like to do them on Mondays. If I have a couple open houses going, I'm going to post them all on Monday so they're out there populating the entire week. Okay, Zillow and Realtor.com. So you all have, logins to your Zillow and Realtor.com accounts, right? And your listings are there, right? So you can go in, unfortunately. So where I was trained up in Massachusetts, that MLS allowed us to put in right in the realtor remarks, right in the public remarks, open house Sunday, 1 to 2:30. And that would populate out everywhere, right? Because the public remarks go pretty much everywhere. Unfortunately, the MLS is here. They don't allow that. Why, I don't know. So what you can do is you can go into Zillow. And now, again, by hitting the open house icon on the MLS, it will put it there on Zillow and Realtor.com, but it's more prevalent, right? When you actually have put it in the beginning of the remarks, you just edit the remarks. You can do that. Put in the date, the time, and, open house Sunday, what is it, September 8th, 2 to 3:30. Again, you will get more traffic. More people will see it. It's all about the exposure. Consider doing an ad. I mean, obviously you want to, post the open house in your on your Facebook page. I mean, we do that for the Dalton Wade agents. If you have one coming up, we'll post it on the Dalton Wade site. But, again, Facebook can target very, very well. You don't have to spend a lot of money, $25 or $50. The Dalton Wade agents all have Boomtown. So what you do is you take, you use your site. So, Lily.DaltonWade, and then you go in and you find your listing. You find the property URL. You take the best photo and you take, your best remarks and you put in their open house, right? And then there's a button that says learn more. They click on that. It takes them to the Boomtown site, your page. They look at 4 photos And if they want to see more, they have to register. So you've captured their lead, and then you follow up with them. Plus, you might get people just coming to your open house through additional exposure. This also helps when you're on a listing presentation. You're going to tell your client you're going to do this. You're going to give them more exposure. There's other places. I mean, Craigslist is kind of almost a forgotten place these days, but still a lot of people go there. So post your open house there. It's free. Backpage, Nextdoor, anywhere you can find to get that open house out there so more people can see it. You might consider, creating a flyer, and the day before going, there's door knocking, but instead of door knocking, you leave a flyer letting the neighbors know, maybe you print up 100 flyers and you go and you put that in their mailbox or on their door. Again, double benefit, right? They may be thinking of selling their house, right? So obviously they're not going to be buying this house, but they may consider you as their listing agent. So you want to get it out there. All right, the day of the open house. So you've done your advanced marketing, right? The day of the open house, you want to make it an event, right? You want buzz, you want people, and you can do that, by signage, right? I mean, there's some cool banner signs. You have your open house signs, but have a lot of signs. You're trying to drive people there because you never know. People stop into open houses, right? They may not have an agent. You want to get there early and get set up, get organized, be ready. But heavy signage helps. If you think if you've kind of saturated the internet, right, and you have heavy signage, you should get a great turnout. Dress professionally. About a year ago, I used to go to open houses for recruiting. Stop in. How's it going? They would think I'm a buyer. But I was really there to meet the agent. But what I saw, I was kind of mortified. At best, I was disappointed. Agents in cutoffs, agents in sneakers, agents just not put together. Nobody's going to want to work with those folks. You are there to sell yourself. Take your best outfit. Whatever you think, get your hair cut, do your hair, put your makeup on, be there looking good. It counts. People are judging you, right? You want to look as professional as you possibly can, right? You want to greet your visitors, right? You're going to get there early. You're going to be ready for that first visitor. You're going to greet them. High energy. This is a little off the subject, but it's kind of the same thing. Zillow has done a lot of studies, and what they do, all the calls, if you're Zillow Premier agent and you're advertising with them, all the calls are recorded. You can actually listen to your calls with the people calling you. What Zillow found out, similar to like how people are dressed at open houses, what they found out is people are like Debbie Downer. It's like a pain in the butt. People are like, who wants to work with an agent like that? Right? Same thing when you're at that open house. You're happy to be there. You're pumped up. You're excited, right? You're putting your best foot forward. All right, this last one, right? The last bullet here. This is, I think, a real differential between you and maybe some of the other agents they're going to meet. Remember I said I had gone to, it was about 50 open houses. Out of the 50 open houses, one person, typing that in, one, was logging somebody in electronically. Everybody else, the other 49 plus agents, they're all having people sign in on a piece of paper. Hey, Mohammed, how are you? Let me just turn that phone off. Sorry about that. They're logging people in on a piece of paper. Oftentimes you can't read their handwriting, right? Log them right in. If you're a Dalton Wade agent, you have Boomtown. You can log, there's an icon, button, add lead, add them in, take their email down, add them right in yourself. You will look cool. You will look high tech. You will look better than 98% of that was I got the stats. I went to the open houses, 50 of them, maybe more. I saw what goes on. Shocking, not good. You can blow those people away by dressing professionally, being pumped up, and logging them in electronically. You look stronger, right? It is, you are trying to impress that person, right? And those are a couple ways you can do it that are simple, that are better. So again, log them in electronically. You will look sharp. Then you've captured their information and it's correct. Now here's another one that I used to do that worked. Ask them if you'd like them to set you up with a property alert. Again, I found 90% of the people I asked that of said yes. I would ask them I'm trying to create dialogue. Like, where do you search? Oh, I search on Zillow. Oh, Zillow, it's got a lot of bad information there. Oh yeah, so much of this stuff is old or outdated. Oh, would it be okay if I set you up with a property alert? Our website pulls the data in from the MLS every 15 minutes, very accurate, right out of the MLS. As I said, 90% said yes. So not only now have I captured their information, I've set them up with an alert. No agent is doing this, and it works. You look better than everybody else out there. Why wouldn't they want to work with you? So you've logged them in electronically. You've asked them if they want to, most say yes. You now, have set them up with the alert, right? So you need to know how to do that. It's fairly easy. Then you let them go. Then you let them tour the house. You kind of, off they go, right? And then typically what's going to happen, and you're not following them around, you're just hanging back. Typically it kind of goes one of two ways. They either just leave, and then okay, they're probably not interested, or they give you the signal. They give you the sign. And the sign is they look at you, they make eye contact. And that's when you're going to probably walk over and say, hey, do you have any questions? And they may have some. Now, sometimes, again, and I'm going to talk about this in a bit, it's always better. Now, sometimes as a newer agent, it's still okay. You can do an open house for another agent. That's fine. But there's a couple of drawbacks to that. One, you're not the listing agent. So when you're the listing agent, you look stronger, right? You look like a more successful agent. It's your listing, as opposed to you're doing the listing for somebody else. Now, again, still fine to do that. You want to be out there, no matter how it happens, whether it's your listing or one of your, teammates listing, it's still fine, right? But they may have questions. When you're the listing agent, usually you can answer those questions because you kind of know everything about the house. Sometimes even when you're the listing agent, you can get some questions and you always have to say, hey, let me get back to you. That's fine. Never BS, never lie, never tell somebody something that isn't completely correct. One guy said to me, now I'm the old timer real estate agent, but at the time he was, and he said, being a real estate agent is answering questions. That's what people want to know. They have questions about that house. Now, again, it's perfectly fine to say, hey, I'll get back to you. Now, it gives you a reason to get back to them with the answer, right? So again, you're trying to bond, you're trying to answer any questions, and you're trying to hopefully have that connection, right? That likability. Then that night, right? That I cannot tell you how many Sundays after my open houses, I followed up with every single buyer religiously. And how I did it was by asking for feedback, right? I didn't come right out and say, hey, would you like to go look at some homes? I'd ask them for some feedback. If they didn't respond, I might ask them for, to see if they would want to go out. If they did provide feedback, I might go, and then ask them, hey, would you like to go out and take a look at, some homes? But you got to ask them. You have to ask that question at some point. If you feel comfortable enough, right, and it seems to be going well, you can maybe ask them right when they're at the open house, but you certainly want to do that afterwards. You have to ask them if they would like to go out and look at homes, right? Setting them up with an alert is not enough. We do a lot with OpCity. OpCity has told us that of all their closings from all their brokerages, 90% occur within 2 weeks if the person took them out. Let me kind of phrase it differently. Agent one says, hey, let's go out and look at some properties. Are you available on Saturday? Agent two says, if you see anything in the alert I set you up, let me know. You will have vastly different results if you ask them to go out and look at properties with you. It is the number one thing to do. You got to ask that question. All right, here are some stats, right? So the average number of visitors at an open house is 8. If you do 2 open houses a week, that's 16 leads. That's 64 leads a month. My conversion rate was about 5%. That's 3 transactions a month just from open houses. Even if you're at 3% conversion, that's 1 out of 33. That's still 2 deals a month just from open houses. Open houses, they're the bomb diggity. They are the bomb diggity. You want to get good at doing open houses. A few more tips. I talked a little bit about that. Much better when you're the listing agent. Why? Your name is on the sign. Your name is on the listing, right? You seem more successful. Now, again, if you're not the listing agent, you still want to be out there trying to do open houses. You will still get business from it, right? But again, listings. It helps, obviously in terms of having the listing because you're going to, get some commission out of that. But you also seem like a stronger agent because your name is on the sign. You are selling, talked a little bit about this, but let's talk about it again. You are selling both the house and yourself, right? Think of it like this, as you get better and better at being an agent, what becomes important or what you get good at is you control the open house. You know exactly how you want it to go. Everything is scripted out, structured, right? From the greeting, from getting there early, from the greeting of the person, from logging them in electronically. Again, nobody's doing this, right? To asking them for if they would like you to set them up with an alert, how you communicate with them. You are the big person on campus, right? You are controlling that open house. You have that confidence and that vibe comes out, right? And it works. Yeah, the open house, yes, Rochelle. The leads are your leads. They are your leads. So you don't want to be sitting there. You want to be like up in action. It's high energy, right? That energy, transcends the whole room, the whole environment, and off you go. Again, we touched a little bit on this, and again, I think it's key. Why to focus on open houses. 75% of first-time homebuyers work with the first agent they bond with. They don't go interviewing agents. It doesn't work like that. That's not how this service is purchased at all, right? They find somebody, they like them, they feel that person knows what they're doing, and off they go. It happened to me 50 times. 50 times. So that's you're trying to make that connection, right? Lisa, my significant other, we used to do open houses. We'd be both out there and we'd get home and we'd say, hey, did you bond with anybody? That's what we called it. Did you bond with them, right? Because if you bonded with them, you have a better shot of actually then working with them. And it has to be legit. You have to have that passion. You have to have, I really want to, help you. I mean, I know Diana's on the call. She referred an agent over here, Kayla. I asked Kayla, Diane met her at an open house. Diane knows it works, right? I mean, so, it works. You will meet people. I mean, my conversion was 5%. You want to ask them how they heard about the open house, right? Where are they coming from? Are they coming off the internet? Are they coming from Zillow? Are they coming off your signage? Just so so you get a sense like, okay, maybe I should do more signage because I seem to be bringing in a lot of people that way. All right, I see agents out there doing open houses for 4 hours. That is ridiculous, right? Do them. You don't have to be there long. An hour and a half, 2 hours tops, right? You want to make it, so that there's a buzz. People are coming, people are going. There is an optimal number. Like if we use 2 hours as, how long we're there for, 8 people is a good number, right? If you get more than 8, personally, I used to like to do them on Sunday. You might look and see where other agents are doing open houses that weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. Sometimes I would do what I call, hopefully I'm smelling it right, call it a commuter open house. I might do that, Thursday, 5:30 to 7, 6 to 7:30, kind of after work, right? Thursday or Fridays 5 to 7. There's no right or wrong answer there. It's whatever is bringing in the traffic, right? I mean, I think if you do what we talked about, get that open house posted early, enhance Zillow and Realtor.com, do some Facebook, do some Craigslist, get that thing pushed out there, heavy on the signage, right? Maybe send out, put out some flyers, in the neighborhood. You will drive traffic. I mean, again, there is, the listing has a bearing, right? The perfect listing for open houses is just a little bit overpriced, right? People come but they don't buy because it's just a little high, right? The other thing, again, if you are the listing agent, what's also important we didn't mention is the photography. I cannot stress this enough. If you're going to invest invest your money smart, invest in a professional photographer, find a great photographer who's reasonable. Make sure he's got the wide angle lens. Make sure he's got, the HDV software to enhance those photos. Make sure, here's what sells houses: kitchens. Kitchens are the number one thing. People key in on kitchens, right? You want to, the listing is a digital marketing piece. You want that marketing piece to be as strong as possible. I can't tell you. I'll see listings, 5 exterior photos. Then there's like a picture of a hallway. Then there's like the dining room, and it's like, I would already be like, I've navigated off that listing. I have no interest. You got a nice kitchen. I've taken listings, and I'll pat myself on the back. I've taken listings, and I've done this several times, from for sale by owners who were on the MLS. Their listings were on the ML. Yeah, I think you want to be there when other open houses, you can draw off of them, especially if you do a good job with your signage, right? They may have seen that listing, but they may pop in and see yours. But again, that's where it goes back. It's competitive, right? It's competitive, meaning you are trying to win business here. You have to be the best. If you think about it, there's a few aspects of this. It's promoting the open house. That's one. It's 2, what you do at the open house and how you're perceived. And then 3, how you follow up afterwards. If you nail those three things, you will clean up. Because again, I've been out there. I've been to open houses. I know what goes on, and I know the quality of some of the agents out there. And it's not great. It's not great at all. One other thing, if you anticipate it being very busy, one of the worst things this is kind of counterintuitive, but one of the worst things is when it's really busy. Meaning, you did it for 2 hours and 18 people showed up. You will not bond with anybody. You will have a hard time bonding with anybody because there's too many people coming and going. So, again, the perfect open house is about 8 people. You have that ability to spend some time with them, bond with them a little bit. But when you have too many people, it's too busy. And that happens. It's hard to have that sort of build that relationship. So in that case, if you kind of think it's going to be busy, you might want to have a second agent there, but you want to have your plan, right? How are we going to do this? We don't want to be kind of like tripping all over ourselves, meaning you and the other agent. But again, the more open houses you do, the better you get at them. Each one is an event, right? Each one is an opportunity. All right, wrap it up. Okay, so again, these are my thoughts, and I am just one person, right? I mean, I did very well at open houses. I mean, I can attest to that. But here's the thing: I did, before I put this presentation together, I had done this, presentation before. I Googled, open houses, and I found like how to do a mega open house. And there was some pretty good stuff in there. There was some stuff in there I wouldn't do. But there were some things I picked up. So again, do some research, see what other people are saying. You can learn from it, right? Check YouTube. I'm a big YouTube, fan for real estate agents. There's a lot of agents. Type in, real estate agent open house. See what comes in. I guarantee you will learn and pick up some tips that will help you improve. It's all about learning. It's all about doing better, right? But again, get good at converting open house leads. Become an expert. Have your plan. You're in control. You're running that open house, and you're there, to meet people, to bond with people, and ultimately to pick them up as clients. All right. Any questions before we wrap it up? I appreciate everyone being here. Personally, I'm not a believer in food. I mean, I think it's, thank you, Diane. I think it's a waste, Stan. I don't think that you will get one extra client because you have food. You might have some drinks, something like that. Well, here's the thing, guys. I think this is a good one from Diane. I'm having trouble getting people in the door. Okay, so here's the thing. If you have an overpriced listing, right, hard to get people to come to your open house, right? Why? Because people are searching and they see and they say, they know, if a house is priced correctly or at least close, right? So it could be the price. It's hard, with an overpriced property, it stunts your open house traffic. There's really no two ways about it. 2, it could be the photography, right? Photography is key. Sometimes, again, we've all been there in terms of, having looked at homes where, you get there. How do you do a condo? Well, you have to check with the condo association, if you can, do an open house. I used to do with Lisa, one of us would be upstairs, one of us would be downstairs letting the person in. We would have notes on the door, to call us. I'd be sitting in the lobby, and as if people came, I would open up for them. So you gotta be innovative. Okay, this is kind of off topic, Diane, but I spoke to Lily, I know, who's on this call. She had one of her clients get an appraisal. When a home seller has their home appraised, it is not the same appraisal as when it's the appraisal for a lender. I am telling you, they are not the same. For whatever reason, they tend to be higher. That's point one. Point two, just recently, one of the agents had a buyer. Oh, well, and so, yeah, so the house is overpriced, correct? Yeah, so that's why you're not getting the traffic. It's the price. I often say there's two reasons why a house doesn't sell: the price or poor marketing by the agent. Hopefully there's no poor marketing by any agent on here tonight, right? You want to, the marketing, the number one thing, I'll say it again, is the photos. If you think about it, well, I don't know, sometimes it's always hard to say. It's difficult. Are you getting, Diane, are you getting appointment showings? Well, it's two things. When you're not getting many appointment showings and you're not getting people through on your open houses, and everything is good, the photos look good, the write-up is good, it's the price. It's always the price. It just is, for some reason. Now, again, does it happen where somebody comes in and they put an offer in? Yeah, it does. It also can be the time of year, not quite as busy now because, kids are back to school. We don't have the snowbirds down here, but ultimately, you can keep trying. It's hard to say, but, there's a lot of variables, but, hopefully in an area, well, again, over 500K the year is a little thinner, not as many people. There aren't as many $500,000 buyers out there as there are, say, $250,000, $300,000 buyers. So, but again, you get one $500,000 buyer off, your listing. That's a home run, right? So, it all kind of, balances itself out. But again, the last bullet here, get good at converting open house leads, continue to practice it, get out there. We're about to launch. It's probably still about a month away, but an open house register where we have more opportunities for the Dalton Wade agents to do open houses. So kind of keep your ears tuned for that. Any last questions before we kind of wrap it up? Remember, you can always watch the replay if you've missed a few things here. Pick up on a couple of those tips to help you, have a more successful open house. All right, everybody. Appreciate you being here. I'll see if any more. Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, Diane. Jeremy, thank you. Lily, good seeing you. All right, Anna. All right, guys. Appreciate you being here. All right, Ray. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye, Mohammed. Thank you so much. Hey, Denise. How you doing? Thank you. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. All right, Rose. Tara Dixon. What's going on? Hey, Russ. Thank you. Good to see you, Tara. You're awesome. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Good night.